In the heart of the Caribbean, there is an island where the air itself seems to carry the weight of stories, a place where the past is not just remembered, but felt. For centuries, it was the key to the New World, a jewel of empires coveted for its fertile soil and strategic shores. Today, it is a land where that history has settled into the very landscape, creating a world of faded grandeur and defiant vitality. This is Cuba. From the sky, it appears as a mosaic of terracotta roofs and faded colonial pastels, fringed by waters of an impossible turquoise. The air itself feels weighted, thick with the scent of sea salt, diesel, and the sweet, strong coffee that marks the start of every day. But to walk its streets is to discover a world that is not frozen, but fiercely, vibrantly alive. This is a story not of a nation lost to time, but of a people who have become masters of the present moment, cultivating a life of profound connection and ingenuity within the embrace of history. This is the story of daily life in Cuba. The Cuban day often begins not with the quiet hum of digital alarms and automated appliances, but with a symphony of human activity, a gradual crescendo that builds with the rising sun. In the dense historic neighborhoods of cities like Havana, Trinidad, or Santiago de Cuba, life is lived in the open, spilling out from private quarters into the shared domain of the street. Doors and windows are thrown wide, not just to welcome the morning breeze, but to erase the boundary between the private home and the public square. The morning routine is a shared, almost choreographed experience. The rich, powerful aroma of strong, sweet Cuban coffee, brewed in a stovetop pot known as a cafetera, drifts from every kitchen, a universal signal that the day has truly begun. This is often the first social act of the day, a small cup, a cafecito, shared with a neighbor or a family member. The call of the bread seller, the clatter of a horse-drawn cart on cobblestones, the metallic scrape of a security gate being rolled up, and the murmur of conversations from balcony to balcony are the sounds that awaken the city. Community is not an abstract concept here. It is the essential architecture of society, the invisible scaffolding that supports daily life. In the courtyards of colonial-era buildings, known as solares, multiple families live in close quarters, sharing a central patio, a water source, and the intimate details of their lives. These are worlds within worlds, where the lines between families blur. Here, neighbors are an extension of family. A cup of sugar, a piece of advice on how to stretch the month's rice, or a helping hand in watching a child is shared without a second thought or the need for formal arrangement. Life unfolds on front stoops, known as portals, and in public parks, where dominoes are played with an intense but friendly concentration that can last for hours. The sharp click of the tiles, a familiar soundtrack to the afternoon. It is here that stories and news, both local and international, are exchanged with the intimacy of a village, passed from person to person in a reliable, organic network that often outpaces official media. This pervasive sense of togetherness is a source of immense strength, a social safety net woven from generations of shared history, collective struggle, and mutual reliance. It is a culture where solitude is rare and often viewed with suspicion, and where human connection is the most abundant and deeply valued currency. To understand Cuba is to understand its soul, or alma, and that soul is expressed through a rich and vibrant tapestry of tradition. The island's identity is a powerful and inseparable fusion of its Spanish colonial past and the deep, enduring influence of the African cultures brought to its shores through the brutal history of the slave trade. This blend, this ajiaco, or rich stew of influences, is the heartbeat of the nation, felt most profoundly in its music. From the melancholic romantic melodies of the bolero and the elegant formal structures of the danzón, to the complex driving polyrhythms of rumba, born in the working-class neighborhoods of Havana and Matanzas, and the joyful, explosive energy of salsa. Music is the island's universal language. It spills out of homes, from the crackling radios of vintage cars, and is performed with uninhibited passion in public squares, state-run music houses, and private courtyards. It is not merely entertainment or background noise. It is a daily narration of life, love, struggle, and longing, a way of processing the world and celebrating survival. This cultural syncretism is also vividly visible in the spiritual life of the island. The grand cathedrals of cities like Cienfuegos and Camagüey stand as monuments to a deep-seated Catholic faith, their bells still marking the hours. But alongside it, and often intricately intertwined with it, are the living practices of Santeria. This Afro-Cuban religion, born from the Yoruba traditions of West Africa, adapted and survived centuries of suppression by blending its deities, the Orishas, with Catholic saints. Chango, the fiery god of thunder and masculinity, found a parallel in Saint Barbara. Ochun, the goddess of rivers, love, and sensuality, in Our Lady of Charity, Cuba's patron saint. The result is a uniquely Cuban spiritual landscape, where faith is a personal, practical, and powerful force, expressed through private rituals, offerings, divination, and a deep connection to the ancestral world. Beyond music and faith, this identity is rooted in a fierce national pride, a reverence for revolutionary heroes like José Martí and Che Guevara, and a passion for baseball, or pelota, the national sport that can inspire as much debate and devotion as politics. It is a culture that has resisted dilution, a national identity forged in resilience, creativity, and expressed with an unapologetic and vibrant spirit. The world of work and the realities of the Cuban economy are a study in contrasts, a complex landscape of state control and burgeoning private initiative. For decades, following the 1959 revolution, the state was the primary, and often only, employer. Today, a significant portion of the population still works in government jobs, from the highly esteemed doctors and teachers to factory workers, engineers, and administrators. These professions are respected pillars of society, but state salaries are modest, often insufficient to cover all of life's expenses in an economy where the cost of goods can fluctuate wildly. This economic reality has given rise to a second parallel economy, one driven by private enterprise and a remarkable degree of individual ingenuity. Since the economic reforms of the 1990s and more recent expansions, the government has allowed for the growth of a small but vital private sector. This is the world of the cuentapropistas, or the self-employed. It is the family that converts its living room into a paladar, a private restaurant serving treasured family recipes. It is the owner of a casa particular who meticulously cleans and rents out a spare room to travelers, offering not just lodging, but a genuine connection to Cuban family life. It is the artisan who sells handcrafted leather goods in a bustling market, the tour guide who brings the history of Old Havana to life, and most visibly, the mechanic who possesses an almost magical, intuitive ability to keep a 1950s Chevrolet running with handmade parts and salvaged components. This burgeoning private economy, particularly in the tourism sector, offers a path to greater financial independence and personal autonomy. But it exists within a framework of significant limitations. Entrepreneurs face challenges in sourcing materials, navigating a complex bureaucracy, and dealing with unpredictable regulations. The informal economy also thrives, a network of street vendors, unlicensed repairmen, and small-scale traders who operate in the gray areas, all part of the daily hustle, or la lucha, to make ends meet. Furthermore, the role of remittances, money sent from family members living abroad, is a crucial lifeline for many households, creating another layer of economic disparity between those who have access to foreign currency and those who do not. The Cuban table is a direct and honest reflection of the island's history, its agricultural bounty, and its economic realities. The cuisine is simple, wholesome, and built upon a foundation of Spanish and Caribbean flavors, with an emphasis on slow-cooked, savory dishes. The undisputed heart of most meals is rice and beans, a pairing that provides the caloric backbone of the national diet. Served separately, they are arroz con frijoles. Cooked together into a flavorful, dark mixture, they become congri or moros y cristianos. This is often accompanied by a small portion of stewed chicken or pork, fried sweet plantains, and a simple salad of tomato and cucumber, lightly dressed. The famous ropa vieja, shredded beef, has become a rarity due to the scarcity of beef, often creatively substituted with lamb or pork. For decades, daily food access has been structured around the libreta de abastecimiento, or ration book. This system, introduced in the early 1960s, provides every Cuban household with a subsidized monthly supply of basic staples like rice, beans, sugar, cooking oil, salt, and coffee. While the ration helps ensure a baseline of sustenance for everyone, the quantities are limited and are not intended to last the entire month. To supplement their diet, Cubans rely on state-run bodegas and local agricultural markets. Here, the availability of produce can vary greatly depending on the season, the harvest, and the complexities of distribution. Home cooking is the cornerstone of the food culture, a place of profound resourcefulness where simple, available ingredients are transformed with care, tradition, and a touch of culinary magic into nourishing family meals. Street food also plays a vital role, with vendors selling small pizzas, churros, and refreshing guarapo, freshly pressed sugarcane juice, offering affordable and accessible options for a quick meal. A shared meal, eaten together around a small table, is a cherished ritual, a moment of connection, conversation, and contentment in the daily rhythm of life. Beyond the vibrant, chaotic energy of its cities, Cuba reveals a landscape of serene and stunning natural beauty. The island's connection to the land, la tierra, and the sea is fundamental to its character and its economy. In the western province of Pinar del Rio lies the Viñales Valley, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, where time seems to slow to the pace of the ox-drawn plow. Here, in the rich red iron-laden soil, the world's finest tobacco is cultivated, using traditional methods passed down through generations. The life of the campesino is one of hard work and deep, intuitive knowledge, a life lived in close harmony with the cycles of planting, tending, and harvesting. The countryside, or El Campo, holds a special place in the national psyche, seen as the repository of authentic Cuban values and traditions. The coastline, which stretches for nearly 6,000 kilometers, is another defining feature of Cuban life. While pristine white sand beaches like those in Varadero are famous destinations for international visitors, for most Cubans, the sea is an integral part of the everyday. In small coastal towns that dot the island's perimeter, fishing remains a vital way of life, the daily catch providing sustenance and income for the community. The ocean is a place of recreation, a source of welcome relief from the oppressive tropical heat, and a constant, powerful presence on the horizon. The island's diverse ecosystems also include the dense forests of the Escambre Mountains and the vast, biodiverse wetlands of the Zapata Swamp, a haven for crocodiles and migratory birds. This outdoor lifestyle, shaped by the warm climate and a culture of simplicity, fosters a deep and abiding appreciation for the natural world, a world that provides both bounty and a sense of profound, elemental beauty. Cuba's streets offer one of the most iconic and visible paradoxes of its modern life. Gleaming, chrome-laden American cars from the 1950s, Chevrolets, Fords, Buicks, and Dodges roll through the streets, not as museum pieces, but as essential workhorse components of the transportation system. Known as almendrones, these vintage vehicles have been kept alive for over 60 years through sheer mechanical genius, a testament to the Cuban art of resolver, or finding a way to solve any problem. With original parts long gone, mechanics have become master innovators, fitting them with diesel engines from Soviet-era trucks, handcrafting body panels, and keeping them running with a combination of ingenuity and sheer will. Many operate as colectivos, or shared taxis, running fixed routes and providing a vital, affordable service for thousands of commuters. Alongside them, the public bus system, or guaguas, carries the bulk of the population, often packed to capacity, especially during peak hours. Transportation is a daily challenge, requiring patience, planning, and a bit of luck. This blend of the old and the new extends to the digital world. For years, access to the internet was extremely limited and prohibitively expensive. In recent times, it has become more accessible, but it is often slow and confined to public Wi-Fi hotspots in parks and plazas. Here, a new kind of public gathering has emerged. Groups of people, particularly the young, congregate to connect with family abroad, catch up on world news, and participate in a global conversation, bridging the gap between their island reality and the world beyond. In another act of ingenuity, many Cubans rely on the Paquete Semanal, or weekly package, a terabyte of digital content, movies, music, apps, and news, downloaded and distributed on hard drives across the country. An offline internet born from digital scarcity, offering a curated window to a world of information and entertainment that would otherwise be inaccessible. For the young people of Cuba, life is a unique and often challenging balance of opportunity and limitation. The Cuban state places a high priority on education, which is free and accessible to all, from primary school through university. The nation boasts one of the highest literacy rates in the world, a legacy of the ambitious literacy campaign of the early 1960s, and a point of immense national pride. The school system provides a solid academic foundation and prepares students for a wide range of professions, particularly in fields like medicine and engineering. To be a doctor in Cuba is a position of great respect, and the country's international medical missions are a cornerstone of its foreign policy and a source of national pride. However, upon graduation, young Cubans face a complex and uncertain future. The aspirations of a globally connected generation who see the world through the window of the Paquette and the Wi-Fi park often collide with the economic realities and limited professional opportunities at home. Many dream of traveling, of starting their own businesses, and of having access to the goods and experiences they see online. This leads to a difficult, often heart-wrenching choice. The pull of home, of family, of the culture that shaped them is incredibly strong. Yet, the desire for greater economic freedom and personal growth leads many to seek opportunities abroad, a phenomenon that has created a vast Cuban diaspora around the world. It is the central challenge for Cuba's youth: how to build a future that honors their deep roots while allowing their dreams to take flight in a world of possibilities that often feels just out of reach. This tension fuels a vibrant underground culture of art, music, and fashion, where young people create their own spaces for expression, navigating the line between official culture and their own globalized sensibilities. The rhythm of day and night in Cuba is a study in shifting energies, a transition from labor to leisure, from the individual to the collective. The daytime is for work, for errands, for the hustle and bustle of the streets. The sun is high and unforgiving, and life is lived in purposeful motion. But as the afternoon heat begins to fade and the sun dips toward the horizon, a palpable transformation occurs. The pace slows, the harsh light softens. Life moves from the formal spaces of work and commerce to the informal social spaces of the community. Evening is a time for connection. In cities across the island, families and friends gather on their porches and front steps to talk, to share a coffee or a rum, and to simply be together, watching the world go by. The most iconic expression of this communal evening ritual is found on Havana's Malecón, the city's famous 5-mile seaside promenade. As dusk settles, this long curving seawall becomes the city's living room, its grand sofa. Fishermen cast their lines into the surf. Young couples walk hand in hand. Musicians play for the sheer joy of it, and friends gather to talk for hours with the sound of the waves crashing against the wall as their constant backdrop. Elsewhere, the sounds of music spill from the state-run Casas de la Música, where locals and tourists alike dance salsa with breathtaking skill and passion. But just as often, the entertainment is simpler. A neighborhood block party, a game of chess in the park, or the quiet, cherished ritual of sitting in a rocking chair on El Portal, feeling the night breeze and sharing the silence with loved ones. The night is not for solitude, but for reinforcing the bonds of community under the cool, star-lit sky. Life in this beautiful and resilient nation is not without its profound and persistent challenges. More than 60 years of a strict economic embargo have had a deep and lasting impact, contributing to chronic shortages of everything from medicine and fuel to building materials and basic consumer goods. The infrastructure, once a model for the region, shows its age, and maintaining buildings, roads, and public utilities is a constant, uphill struggle. The memory of the special period in the 1990s, a time of extreme economic crisis following the collapse of the Soviet Union, is etched into the collective consciousness, a period that taught lessons of survival and sacrifice that still resonate today. These daily difficulties have cultivated a national spirit of extraordinary resourcefulness and almost infinite patience. Waiting in line, or hache la cola, is a regular and accepted part of life, a social ritual in itself, approached with a stoic sense of calm and camaraderie. The concept of resolver is more than just a word. It is a philosophy of life, an art form born of necessity. It is the ability to repair the irreparable with a piece of wire and sheer willpower, to make something from nothing, to see a solution where others see only a problem. It is a skill that has become a defining characteristic of the Cuban people, a testament to their remarkable ability to adapt, to endure, and to persevere with grace, dignity, and often a sharp sense of humor in the face of scarcity. This daily struggle, la lucha, is a constant, but it is a struggle faced together, a shared burden that reinforces the very community bonds that make it bearable. In a world of seemingly endless movement and opportunity, where millions seek new lives in new lands, the question arises, why do so many choose to stay? The answer is not simple, but it is woven into the very soul of the island, into the concept of Cubania, or Cubanness. They stay for the unbreakable bonds of family, for a society where multiple generations often live under one roof, providing a network of love, support, and shared history that is the bedrock of their lives. They stay for the profound sense of safety, for the simple, priceless freedom to walk the streets at any hour, and for their children to play with a sense of security that has become a rarity in much of the world. They stay for the culture, for a shared identity that is a source of immense pride and belonging, a feeling that cannot be replicated elsewhere. They stay for the peace, for a life that is less consumed by the relentless pressures of consumerism and more focused on human relationships and small daily joys. And above all, they stay for the deep, unshakable, and almost mystical connection to home, to a land that is more than just a place on a map, but is an integral part of who they are. It is a connection felt in the rhythm of the music, in the taste of the food, in the warmth of the sun, and in the shared, collective experience of being Cuban. It is the feeling of having roots that run as deep as the foundations of the colonial cities, a sense of belonging that transcends economic hardship and political complexity. Life in Cuba exists in a delicate and enduring balance between a nostalgic past that is everywhere visible and a complex present that is lived with intensity, between a scarcity of material goods and an abundance of human spirit, between quiet, daily hardship and an exuberant, life-affirming joy. It is a place where history is not confined to museums, but is etched into the walls of the cities and the hearts of the people. Here, progress is measured differently, not in the speed of its internet, but in the strength of its communities, not in the material wealth of its citizens, but in the profound richness of its culture. It is a living testament to the idea that even when faced with formidable limitations, the human spirit can create a world of profound beauty, deep connection, and unwavering resilience. It is a reminder that in a world that is constantly, relentlessly speeding up, there is a deep and lasting power in a life lived with purpose, with passion, and together.